We are solving rational equations, and we want to solve the equation using the LCD and then check for extraneous solutions. So the first thing is we want to solve, and where we want to figure out what the LCD is. Then we want to multiply all fractions by the LCD, solve the equation, and check for extraneous solutions. So for this set of fractions, for this equation up here, we have two fractions that have a common denominator of x minus 1. And then we have one fraction that has a common denominator of 2. So the LCD for this equation is going to be this denominator multiplied by this denominator. So that's what we're going to do first. So what's missing from this one? We're missing the x minus 1. So we're going to take this and we're going to multiply by x minus 1 over x minus 1. What's missing in this denominator? We're missing the 2. So we're going to multiply by 2 over 2. And same thing here, 2 over 2. And when we go ahead and do that math, we end up with 3x minus 3 over 2x minus 2 plus 8 over 2x minus 2, which is equal to 2x plus 2 over 2x minus 2. And so we're all set there. And the reason that we did that is because now we have common denominators here. And what we can do is we can get rid of those common denominators by multiplying by 2x minus 2. So by multiplying by 2x minus 2, our 2x minus 2 in the numerator, when you distribute to all terms, cancels all the denominators. And then what we're going to be left with is 3x minus 3 plus 8 is equal to 2x plus 2. And then we can work to get all of our variables together and all of our constants together. So one thing that we can do is right away we can say 3x negative 3 plus 5 or plus 8 is equal to plus 5, which is equal to 2x plus 2. Then we can subtract 2x. And then we get x plus 5 equals 2. And then we can subtract 5. And we get x is equal to negative 3. Then the last step is we have to check for extraneous solutions. And we'll just have to substitute that into the equation. So 3 over 2 plus 4 over negative 3 minus 1 is equal to negative 3 plus 1 over negative 3 minus 1. Just want to make sure I have that written down correctly. It looks like I do. And we're checking that, so put the question mark there because we're checking to make sure that that does work. So negative 3 minus 1, that becomes negative 4. So we get 3 over 2 plus 4 over negative 4, which is equal to negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2, and negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. And we're still trying to see if this works. Now, in order to add these together, we have to have a common denominator. So let's make the common denominator 2 because I can reduce this fraction and I can reduce this fraction. So if I divide both of these by 2, we get 3 over 2 minus, because there's a negative, minus 2 over 2. And we're checking to see if that's going to be equal to 1/2. So 3 minus 2 is 1. Keep the denominator, and that is equal to 1/2. So x minus 3 is the solution. And then we have our next example over here for D. We're going to follow the same pattern that we did before. We're going to find the LCD, multiply all fractions by the LCD, solve the equation, and then check the solution. So two of the fractions have 2x as the denominator, and one has x plus 1 as the factor for the denominator. So we have to make sure that each one has the 2x and the x plus 1. So in order to add the 2x here, on the left side, we have to multiply by 2x over 2x. For each one of these, we have to multiply by x plus 1 over x plus 1. And when we go ahead and do that, 2x times 3x is 6x squared. And then we get in the denominator, we get 2x squared plus 2x. And then that's going to be minus. And then we get minus 5x plus 5. Same denominator. And then that's going to be equal to 3x plus 3. Same denominator. And it looks like a lot there, but we can make our life a lot easier by multiplying by what's in the denominator. That will eliminate those fractions there for us. And so we can multiply by 2x squared plus 2x. And that is going to cancel everything in the denominator and really simplify things for us. So what we're going to end up with is we end up with 6x squared. Now we got to distribute this minus sign. So minus 5x minus 5, and that's going to be equal to 3x plus 3. And we have a quadratic term, so we need to get one side equal to 0. So let's subtract 3x and subtract 3. And then we get 6x squared minus 8x minus 8 is equal to 0. We can definitely factor 2 out of there. So we get 2 times 3x squared minus 4x minus 4. And I believe that can be factored. So we can factor that. 3x is going to have to be 1. X is going to have to be 1. And two numbers that are going to multiply to negative 4 and are going to add to negative 4. So we can try negative 2 and negative 2. So that's negative 4. That's negative 6. Oh, one of these has to be positive. This one has to be positive. Negative 4, negative 6, positive 2. Okay, so we're all set there. So we get two possible solutions. This part right here gets us a possible solution of x is equal to negative 2 over 3. And this factor ends up being, or 0 ends up being x equals 2. And so we have to check each one of those to make sure that they are going to work. And get a little more room. And so the first one we're going to check is the negative 2/3. So 3 times negative 2/3 over negative 2/3 plus 1 minus 5 times 2 times negative 2/3 is equal to 3 times 2 times negative 2/3. And what we get is our 3's cancel here. So we get -2, and we have -2/3 plus 3/3. So that ends up being -2 over 1/3. And then minus. And then we have 5 over -4/3. And that's going to be equal to 3 over -4/3. And now we want to try to finish this up. So -2 divided by 1/3, if we multiply by the reciprocal here. So if we multiply by 3 over 1, so in the denominator, that cancels, and we're left with -6 there. So we'll put -6, and we'll do the same thing here. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 3 over -4, 3 over -4, 3 over -4, 3 over -4. And what we're going to be left with is, in the denominator, our 3's cancel, our -4 cancel, our 3's cancel, our -4 cancel. And then we're left with negative times a negative gives us positive 15 over 4. And we're still checking to see if that's equal. So we want to put our question mark there. And then we get 9 over negative 9 over 4. And another way that we can write this is we can say this is -24 over 4 plus 15 over 4, and that does equal -9 over 4. So we did all that work to check to see if -2/3 works, and that does indeed work. And then we still have to check to see if the 2 will work. And so we can write that in the upper corner up here. We're going to do the same thing. So 3 times 2 over 2 plus 1 minus 5 over 2 times 2 is equal to 3 over 2 times 2. And we're checking to see if that does work. And so we get 6 over 3. Well, the 2's cancel. 6 over 3. So that becomes 2 minus 5 over 4. And that becomes 3 over 4. 2, if we make it the denominator of 4, that becomes 8 over 4. Running out of room here. So we'll write 8 out of 4. 8 over 4 minus 5 over 4. And that is indeed equal to 3 over 4. So 2 also works.